It's still a tearjerker for me every time I watch it, and I've watched it several dozen times. Having that cool thing with your family. Those of us that have families know that it's like there's nothing like it. And those guys are all my family now, and those gals, and I'm in touch with them almost every day. Jamie, the last guy, he kind of has gone off the grid. He has a lot of ammunition buried up in the high desert, and he's like a kind of a survivalist dude. But everyone else is thriving and doing well, and I'm happy to take any questions about any part of it.
Maybe you could tell, I said in the introduction, you sort of went on this quest to satisfy your own and your son's interest in meeting vets. Had you ever been across the country like that? And is that a fair statement that that's what drove you forward?
I wanted to make a love poem about America. And I think when you see that landscape, you see like how precious that is, and the precious lives of those gentlemen and women that stand up to guard it for us. And wow, today's an emotional one. But it's, I wanted to show that, the arc of like how beautiful this space is, and it's kept and it's safeguarded for us by these beautiful people, and we are all one. This is not an anti-war film by any means, though I believe that the terrors of war come through pretty clearly in my film. I wanted to show the fabric of the landscape and the fabric of the people.
Right. Well, the symbol of Route 66 is so powerful to begin with. It is the great thread. Yeah. Questions, sir?
Every day was a surprise when we were on the road. It's I go right back to those moments when I'm watching the film. I slip right back into those moments when I'm watching it, and so I'm not surprised anymore. But each day was a surprise. Each story was a surprise. And of the 100 people that we interviewed, those were the stories that stood out to me. And those ones, I feel like they told the arc of kind of they represented a pretty good sense of whom we met along the route. And I think the biggest surprise was how hard it is to make a documentary feature film and complete it and have the story make sense. Luckily our film it's a journey film, so we were able to just show the journey chronologically.
Yeah. How did you actually organize it? Obviously, there was you, there was Nick Holland, cinematographer. He was along. Was he along the whole way?
Yes, he was. We had a chase car with all of our gear in it, and we had a driver, and then we had Lewis Holland, who ended up, we hired him to edit the film too, and I gave him director's credit because he really directed it a lot in the editing room, and phenomenal crew. I wish they were here with me because I want to say some nice things about the Louisiana International Film Festival. The folks here have been so kind and welcoming, and this is, I'm going to say, this is what a film festival should look like. It should look like this, like what these guys do here.
Wow, thank you. Wow. How many days? We're looking at 100 minutes. How many minutes did you have to?
That was the month of May in 2012. So it was a month-long journey across. Some days we did 100 miles. Some days we did 500 miles. Depends on where we could find some interviews. Depends on how much road footage we wanted to shoot that day. We left a lot out. We had a 112-minute version. We had to trim it. We had to give it a haircut just because it was just too gosh darn long. But I wish.
Feels right. It feels right where it is now.
Thank you.
So many are feeling. Over there, sir.
I wanted to, the obvious, you and your son have a great relationship before you began the journey. But what could you say about how the depth of your relationship now that you've done this?
Well, it's, you know, I work with my son almost every day, and to share, we wanted to do this American experience. We'd shared a lot of other experiences, but nothing like this before. Nothing like, I think we're bonded over these people that we met, and like that's a special light that goes on whenever we talk about the project, or whenever we're moving the project forward or from one place to the next. And we're excited to get involved with our next project, which will be take place in, we're going to shoot it in Vietnam next year with some Vietnam veterans.
Okay. Yeah, I saw another hand now.
How did you guys run into like anti-war movements, and like how strong is the anti-war movement?
Well, I didn't feel like there was much of an anti-war movement. We were wondering if we were going to have to create an antagonist for this film. For a while, we thought we might go and shoot some footage of people that go. There's people that go out from that church, which I don't know the name of, but they go out and they protest these funerals, and they carry signs, and they say, you know, service members are the devil, and this, that, and the other thing. And we thought we were going to have to create an antagonist, but I think war turned out to be the antagonist in our film. We just didn't know if there was going to be enough tension, if we were just going to tell the stories of the service members and the stories of courage and honor and service. We were wondering what the conflict would be if we didn't show any conflict other than their own stories.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I told you that we'd shown this film last year called No Greater Love, which was similar in its feeling for the plight of the veteran returning home, but very different in its structure, because it started with one battalion and combat footage, and then followed those same guys back to America and dealt with what they were dealing with, which was almost identical to what you did. Yours was very different, but beautifully different. You know, I loved it.
Thank you. Thanks, Ian. I want to thank Ian and all the rest of the people down here. Hi.
Has the film been shown to veterans groups? I can imagine it would really be a healing experience.
Thank you. Actually, many of the veterans that that have seen it have come up to me afterwards and told me that it has brought up some feelings that they had from whatever conflicts that they were involved in, and they were able to reconnect with where they were then and where they are now. And one of my sponsors on this film is a Vietnam guy, and he said after 40 years he finally feels home.
What's your own feeling about the situation now? Are you hopeful that, I don't know if hopeful is the right word, but that there's the care or the facilities, or there's going to be more caring about veterans? I mean, they seem to be just underfunded.
I think they're underfunded. You know, there's so many, I think there's over 25,000 warrior support groups out there now that are helping these warriors that have come home. And they are doing a great job. You know, I'm nervous right now. I think that there's some hands near the trigger right now that are scary to me, and I wish that the people that were responsible for wars could see more guys talk about what happens afterwards, because maybe we wouldn't, you know, fucking send them over there and bring them back like this.
Well, thanks, folks. I want to continue outside, but
thank you, everyone.
so much for coming.
The key to any next-gen recoil rig is balance while keeping your rig short and light. Your eye, shoulder, and hand placement never change, so the key is to slide the camera as far back as needed to achieve the perfect balance. This forces your EVF and camera control forward, but our unique VCT base plate design gives you extra rod space, making it possible to mount accessories close to the camera body, allowing for a perfectly balanced recoil rig. The next-gen recoil's adjustability is great enough to balance any size camera with any size lens and any additional accessories, and its quick releasability makes setup and breakdown fast and effortless.